Hello and welcome back to another interesting analyst session. Today we are going to comprehensively discuss 7 articles under 2 sections. These articles have been sourced from the Indian Express and the Hindu. Section A, wherein we will analyze 2 articles in depth. First article deals with India-China relations, significance and the challenges, India's response to it and the way forward on the same. Second article is about the Indo-Pacific, evolution of the term, the initiatives taken by India and the issues that are there, and finally the steps ahead. Next, in section B, which is the simplified section, we will take another 5 articles along with the value addition part. This will help you in your upcoming prelims. So stay tuned. So the first article is on India-China relations. As we have seen, our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has quite often said it. Now that the disengagement with the China has been over, now we can move towards improving the relations between India and China on further segments. So in the same line, our Foreign Secretary has been lending and is going to lend in Beijing to further have a conversation and dialogue on various aspects. Now beginning with this, we will see how India-China relations are standing at this moment and what could be the significance for India's importance and India's strategic segment. And then what else can we do so as to further improve in this direction. So starting with the significance, first of all, it is our neighbor. It has around 3,488 kilometers of boundary that India shares with China or China shares with India. Now this entire boundary is divided into 3 sectors, eastern sector, western sector, and of course the middle sector. Also, if you see from the perspective of geopolitical significance, we also need China's support in case of membership for Nuclear Suppliers Group, that is NSG, and or to become a permanent member of UN Security Council. Despite the India's stature, despite the India's duly importance as a permanent member, to get a seat as a permanent member in UN Security Council, it does need agreement with all the P5 members, so including China. So you have to tell me what are P5 countries? Apart from China, what are other 4 countries which are somewhere in agreement to give India its required due? But China is the one factor in the country which is probably suspending and blocking that, the entry of India in UNSC and also in NSG. Now coming to the Indian Ocean. Since Indian Ocean is traditional India's backyard, the regional security and economic prosperity's region holds huge importance for India and all the neighboring countries. That's why India has gone ahead and taken multiple initiatives to ensure that this region in essence remains prospered and also remains a peaceful area where security concerns, navigation concerns are taken care of. Now also, if you see from India-China relations, they both are neighbors, and neighborhood first policy which India holds at the primary gateway. So even under this policy, China is one of the neighbors. So yes, if we see and compare to our relative other neighborhood members like Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Maldives, Sri Lanka and others, we have better relations with them as far as security and diplomatic engagement are concerned. But within this, China is of particular concern. So we have to move ahead and see what other initiatives we both can take to ensure that mutual concerns are addressed. Then along with it, when we talked about geopolitical situation in this neighborhood, about the regional security, then another member in the neighborhood, which is another country, Pakistan, it again assumes importance. Why? Because China and Pakistan are have a strong partnership when it comes to investment, economic partnership, strategic partnership, also security concerns to an extent remains based on each other concerns. So we have to ensure that at the time when we are seeing probably a negative impression coming from Pakistan, we have to ensure that bigger nation such as China remains at least supportive, if not friendly. Then there is a string of pearls strategy. You all would be by now, I'm sure, must be aware what is this strategy, what all members are included in. Just to give you an idea, this is a number and range of countries organized in a pearl manner. This strategy is used by China to probably surround India and with all these countries where they are located, and to develop infrastructure as well as military ports, base. So as it can use and strategically utilize the location that these countries have to its own advantage and probably to the disadvantage of countries like India. And Quad. So recent emergence of groupings like Quad. Quad has 4 members: US, India, Australia and Japan. So all of these countries have went ahead, and specifically in the perspective of Indian Ocean, Indo-Pacific, the significant term, Indo-Pacific, they are important members. And this has irked China because these are prominent members and geopolitically important on the globe also. And when it comes and they enter into Indo-Pacific region and Indian Ocean per se, it somewhere decreases the aggression and the commitments of China with its neighbor countries also. Now coming to energy security. If you see India's more than 55% trade, overall trade, that also includes energy security and energy trade, comes and passes through Strait of Malacca and including South China Sea. So yes, this location is important. Having good relations with China is also important. Then Asian premium. Asian premium is something that is offered to countries which are importers or which look forward to buy oil from some of the countries which are oil exporters, including Saudi Arabia, including OPEC countries. So Asian premium is something, the rate at which oil is exported to these countries. Now India and China, both of these countries are primarily importers. And if both of them organize themselves as collaborators or probably cooperating countries, they have the leverage to probably reduce this Asian premium, which can act and reduce their importing balance sheet. Then again, Brahmaputra river, China has developed many energy potential dams on its rivers, which some of them, including Brahmaputra, that comes from China and again passes through India. Now, in 2017, when there was Doklam conflict, we saw there were skirmishes on the border and the area was Doklam. We saw that China stopped transferring and probably disseminating data related to hydrological information about Brahmaputra, which not only needed for the security and safety of the region, but to manage floods and other disasters related to it, it's also crucial. Now, if you can remember that there is also Indus Water Treaty, which is in fact not between China but India and Pakistan. But my point of mentioning that treaty is that despite multiple conflicts and in fact wars having been done or having been completed between India and Pakistan, India has never cut off the cooperation that it conducts on Indus Water Treaty, which is one of the exemplary situation case studies that we have at the global scale. But similar is or same is not the case with China. Right in the Doklam standoff that we had, which is not even a proper conflict, it held back the data, which is hydrological data, and which could improve the mitigation of various disasters. So now critical minerals import. I have also discussed in previous analyst session that there are critical minerals including lithium, gallium, silicon and other rare energy metals, which are required not just for one economic sector but for various sectors including electrical vehicle, or be it the need of lithium for this industry, semiconductor manufacturing. Silicon is required for also solar cells. So not just this, and in fact for various other alloys, aluminium and upgradation, which is also needed in defense as well as in space sector, we need research and development. But for that research and development and further to produce and manufacture, we need the critical minerals as raw material, for which we are dependent on China and other countries like that. Now China figures important because it has huge concentration of some of these minerals reserves. For example, if we talk about photocells, that is solar cells, India almost 80% is dependent on its import. If we have to deploy solar energy on India scale, we have to increase its composition in whole of energy composition that we have. We need photosolar cells. Now for its 80% import, we are dependent. And our more than 65% out of this share is actually comes from, more than 65% comes from China. So you can understand very crucial sectors are dependent on China, wherein we need the presence and probably the import of raw material for the manufacturing sector. So this is with respect to energy security and also geopolitically segment. Now economic interest, almost 2/3 of the active pharmaceutical ingredients from which we manufacture our generic medicines or other medicines as well, we are dependent on its import from China. Almost 80 to 85% we import it from China. Now it has also been able to become the largest trading partner of India if we talk from the economic angle. And in this recent year, 2024, we have seen it emerging as the first. In the past few years, we have seen it was the US which was able to overcome China as the largest trading partner. But now, again, China has stood first and it has become the largest trading partner with around 118.4 billion US dollars. That is 118.4 billion US dollars. And it's a two-way commerce. That is including import and export. Import coming to the we are importing, coming to the country, and export we are sending to another country. In this case, that would be China. Then more than 55% of India's trade, like I've already told you, is passing through Strait of Malacca or South China Sea, speaking volumes about the importance having supportive and collaborative and cooperative strategy and relations between these two countries. Then there is a case of cyber threats. If you have seen in our past discussions, we have tried to keep Huawei and ZTE, these are two Chinese companies, when it comes to 5G providers. Why? Because of the cyber attacks, because of the cyber security concerns. Again, we have also in the aftermath of 2022 and 2021, we have seen more than 300 apps, Chinese apps have also been blocked because there were many concerns. And in 2022, we also saw there was cyber attack on AIIMS Delhi, which highlighted that the possibility of India's critical institutions getting affected by Chinese ransomware or other kind of viruses. So this is also important. We have to keep in mind these concerns as well. Now, as long as we are talking about the significance and the gravity of situation that is occurring or exists at this moment, we have to keep in mind that there is, at the global stage, there is largely the Western dominance if we go by the representativeness and the presence of Western members in various international institutions. What those institutions could be? That could be IMF, International Monetary Fund, that could be World Trade Organization, that could be United Nations, and others also, not to forget WHO. All of these institutions, you would see that there is a dominance of Western countries, especially US and European Union. All of these countries majorly occupies the presidencies, the chairman, or at least the majority of all of these chairs and membership. But now to counterbalance it on the global stage, countries like China and India, and of course others including Russia, have come up with alternate institutions, including BRICS or Shanghai Cooperation Organization and others, including AIIB. Now, it needs that these both countries are on the same line when it comes to these institutions. Otherwise, mutual conflict will not allow these countries to overcome Western dominance, which are pretty much on the same line when it comes to institutions like IMF. For also UN reforms, I have already highlighted we do need cooperation of China, and China must keep in mind the due recognition of India's population, its contribution, and its history of cultural and social unity, and of course, spreading peaceful coexistence. Now comes to Global South. India has traditionally been and assumed the responsibility of holding on to the concerns of Global South overall. Many countries have, again, given India as a credit for upholding their concerns, including climate change. Now, for that also, we need emerging countries, and when it comes to emerging countries, countries like India and China, both are important. So we need, if we have to promote this concept of Global South against the developed global north or against the Western domination, so as to say. We have to ensure that these both countries, India and China, including others, are on the same page. Then the case of Shanghai Cooperation Organization and associations and organizations such as BRICS, which I have already told you that we need to ensure that these organizations work without any on-ground issues, so that they could be used for the benefits of its own members and other members who are joining, who are observers, and also other developing and small developing countries and island nations. So that being said, now we can see that there is a data which tells about top trading partners of India in 2024. We see that again China has emerged as the first top trading partner of India in 2024. Last year it was United States. United States is also not far. It stands at $118.29 US billion. And then third is UAE, United Arab Emirates, which is 83.65 USD. Fourth is Russia and fifth is Saudi Arabia. So you can try to remember this sequence. They may ask you, top 5 should be enough. Let's come to how India has responded to all of the significance and the challenge that we have understood so far that these countries hold. First of all, India has come out with its own necklace of diamonds strategy. In response to what? In response to China's string of pearls strategy. As you can see, that this is India's necklace of, it tries to again go around China from not just from land aspect, also from the seas aspect. So these islands like Assumption, Seychelles, Sabang, Changi Port in Singapore, Vietnam, countries like Japan, Mongolia, Iran and Oman, all of these are covered. India would try to develop, of course, the infrastructure as well and also military developments. Similar, this is an exactly answer to string of pearls strategy that China is deploying in Indian Ocean. And again, there is another strategy, double fish hook strategy of India, which you can see. These looks like hooks and this has been deployed in India to ensure that India is protected and further encircles the string of pearls strategy of China. Then there are global alliances like I2U2, Israel, India, US and UAE, including 4 members. Then there is Quad of 4 countries, US, Australia, Japan and India. Then there is Minerals Security Partnership. I have already included this in previous Analyst. This has been regarding the give and take of critical minerals. Then SCRI, Supply Chains Resilience Initiative. This is led by Japan, India and Australia. Then Indian Ocean Region Association, RIM Association. It includes all the littoral states of Indian Ocean, cooperation between these to ensure economic prosperity as well as regional security. So these are 4 of the global alliances. There are others also, 4 or 5 of the global alliances. There are others, but just to give you an idea, then this is the aspect of strategy and one of the provisions under what has been India's response. Another responses from India's side has been India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. This will enable to cross over and reach to Middle East up till Europe through passing through Arabian Sea. Okay, then there is another corridor and transport corridor which is known by the name of International North-South Transport Corridor. This includes countries like Azerbaijan, Russia, Iran, India. And it passes through, and of course, one of the Mediterranean Sea is there and also passes through Caspian Sea. Again, Arabian Sea is also part of this. We have to ensure the security of Arabian Sea also, so as to ensure that this transport corridor remains successful and operative as well. Because one of the concerns in Arabian Sea is of, grave concern is of piracy. Then Indian Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, which I have already told you. These countries like UAE, Israel, Greece, Jordan and Saudi Arabia. These are the prominent active participants of this, and this will pass through, of course, Persian Gulf and will reach up till Greece, that is entering Europe. So this is one, and then another response has been tightening up, upgrading the village that are located on India's border. Why? Because China has already built dual-use villages on its own border. Dual-use villages are what? They are not just security full and probably civilly in the sense of development of infrastructure and livelihood, but they are also military equipped. Similar steps have to be taken on India's side also if we have to counter the threat coming from the Chinese border. First of all, going with where we are developing these villages, ensuring the security of the people living there, giving them security and economic development also ensuring by developing some sort of infrastructure there. So now, what could be the way forward? When it comes to way forward, we have to work on multi-sectors. The approach has to be on multiple segments. We have to employ science and technology. We have to enhance our defense prep, including drone technology. Then we have two strategic roads which have been counted in numbers, which are around 73. We have to ensure they are upgraded, they are built, and they are ready to ensure the connectivity and fast movement of our forces. Then Rafale, we have already been acquiring this from France, and we can deploy it in all of those army fronts and military front in all those areas which are closer to Indo-China border. Then economic measures, like I said, we have to develop our manufacturing capacity when it comes to certain economic sectors, including APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients. Also semiconductors, electronic segments, again solar equipment also. Why? Because these are different segments of economy, but we need to build in. And not just that, we have to ensure our MSME sector also flourishes. Why? Because most of our population, at least more than 40%, depends on it for its livelihood. And it also is a big part of exports. Having said that, we have to ensure that this sector do not keep waiting for its credit for the incentives and benefits that it seeks, that it needs for it to flourish. Then there are countries, Japan, South Korea and European Union nations from where we can import and probably seek transfer of technology along with investments and credit. They can have their investment in our country where there are huge prospects for, of course, interest, greater enforcement of profits, and we can get technology as well as required credit that our country needs for because since it has a status of emerging economy and it needs those kind of development credit. This can be taken. Then come to regional leadership enhancement. Nations and organizations such as BIMSTEC, Indian Ocean Rim Association and Supply Chain Resilience Initiative. Now, I have not really told you what is BIMSTEC. I hope you know, but just to summarize it, there are 7 member countries in BIMSTEC. It deals with all the nations that are situated and located on Bay of Bengal location. Countries are like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and of course, India. The importance is that it accounts for 20% of world's population and around 2.7 trillion US dollars of GDP. All these nations compose of this kind of GDP. Then 1/4 of the world's trade goods cross this Bay of Bengal every year. There are 6 focus areas: trade, technology, energy, transport, tourism, and fisheries. So this platform and institution could also be used to improve neighborhood policies, to improve the cooperation between neighbors, so that the effect of China and the cooperation between these countries could be handled safely and in a friendly manner. Now the question of the day, please look at it and answer for yourself. Now moving on to the next article of the day, which is on Indo-Pacific. Now, on the eve of Republic Day, that was yesterday, India and Indonesia both affirmed commitment to peace, stability, prosperity in Indo-Pacific. So again, the term and the geopolitical term, which is Indo-Pacific is again in the news. And not just with respect to India and Indonesia, all the ASEAN members and other global actors such as United States or Australia, and other countries like Canada have also come up with their strategy document where they have prominently talked about this term Indo-Pacific and its geopolitical importance. So let's see what this term is about, how has this term has evolved over the years, and what is India's concerns and what can we again further do about it. So what is it? It's the term that has been used to refer the vast geographic areas right from the east coast of Africa to west coast of America, and from Antarctic in the south to the Arctic in the north. So this is a huge expanse of geographical areas. As you can see, this is entirely this Indian Ocean aspect, and from there here Pacific Ocean. This also majorly figure in Indo-Pacific. This is a huge expanse of area Now, what are the why is it so important? So it is important from various perspectives, not just from its geographical expense, but also the economic expense, the EEZ, that is exclusive economic zone, the various countries that are located in this region has. Then again, various concerns that we shall read as we go ahead. So first of all, let us understand how this term got its origin, how it has evolved over the years. So it was in 1926. So there was a German geopolitician by the name Karl Haushofer, a region where Indo, China and Japan would align with Germany. So of course it was in the context of world wars. This geopolitician came with the term of Indo-Pacific against the United States, United Kingdom and the Western Europe. But you would see that in 1940s from India, there was one historian, Kalidas Nar. He also used this term and it became prominent in India's discourse also. Then you would see, as of the immediate conversations that is going on, it was actually started in 2007 when Shinzo Abe, that is the Japanese Prime Minister, he called the Indian Ocean and the Pacific one common space in his speech, and he used the term confluence of the two seas, and that happened in New Delhi. So again, India is important again in making this term important in the vocabulary of geopolitics. The term Indo-Pacific appears in 2012 for the first time officially in a white paper in Australia. Meanwhile, in 2011 also, Hillary Clinton mentioned and within the US strategy talks about Indo-Pacific term itself. Then you would see 2017 again there was this APEC summit in US where President Trump calls the free and open Indo-Pacific the focal point of US-Asia policy. Then in 2019 you would see that French minister, even the France countries like France, one country from European Union, also publishes the strategy paper France and Security in the Indo-Pacific. So Indo-Pacific becomes so important that there were specific papers dedicated to it when countries were discussing their policies. Then ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific, that happened again within the same year. And finally, US Department of State published its own strategy paper, a free and open Indo-Pacific advancing a shared vision. So this term became official in the terminologies and policy papers, strategy documents of various countries, including France, United States, Canada also. That being said about the origin and the evolution of this term, as you can see, this has many countries like Pakistan, India, the Indo-Pacific region has many countries, including China, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Australia and others also. You can remember this term. Now different initiatives that have been taken by India. Of course, various countries have come up with their own strategy document. India being an active partner and located in this Indo-Pacific region, and Indo-Pacific being the active backyard of this region, India has taken various initiatives, starting with Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue. So this is a track 1.5 event. I hope that you know what we mean by track 1.5 event. It has government representatives. It's basically a discussion between various members that could have government representation. Like I said, it could also have non-governmental members, that is NGOs based or experts there. It could have experts and academicians from civil society also. They can sit down and have policy discussions on various steps required, what are the concerns, issues, how to resolve them. They can come and have a public discussion on Indo-Pacific. Then second, we have Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. This has various concerns noted under its charter. A few of them are maritime security, maritime ecology, resources, capacity building and resource sharing, disaster risk reduction, management, science, technology and academic cooperation, trade, connectivity and transport. Now you have to remember that this vast expanse of Indo-Pacific has various climates, various ecological differences. It has rainforest on one side, it also has hot deserts. It has mangroves, it has coral reefs. So like I said, it is a huge expanse varying from not just from communities and ecology, but also with respect to the effect of climate change on all of this. And with respect to economical difference, many types of countries are located. Some are at developing stage, some are least developed, some are developed also. So you can see this IPOI initiative, Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiatives, has many provisions. Marine ecology, security, transport, trade, connectivity, and all of that, like I have already mentioned here. Then it comes to another initiative, which is Quad. I've already focused on this before as well. India, Japan, US and Australia are 4 prominent members of this, and having Trump coming again to the power, we are hoping that this organization or this institutions of Quad will see active efforts from all of these countries. It is based for regional security as well as economic cooperation. Then there is Indo-Pacific Division in MEA. Ministry of External Affairs itself has developed one division on Indo-Pacific. It will specifically cooperate with all the matters related to Indo-Pacific. So what does this highlight? The kind of importance and significance that India attaches to this geographical area in its own public policy discussions. So this to tell you about the initiatives that has been taken by India. Another would be Sagar initiatives, which is strategic partnership with other Indian Ocean regions which are situated in its littoral neighborhood in Asia as well as Africa. So you can see here as this Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean and Indo-Pacific, it has various littoral from African states also, and like I said, other various members in be it Bay of Bengal or Arabian Sea. Now what is different initiative taken by India also has Quad. I've already said, told you about this, that India in 2022 also hosted this Heads of Asian Coast Guard Agencies meeting in New Delhi, which of course highlighted the importance that India tried to give a signal that India stands for open and rule-based maritime borders, including Indo-Pacific. So this initiative that India has taken, now what are the issues and challenges? You can call them issues or challenges. Then there are territorial disputes between South China Sea, that are existing in South China Sea, East China Sea. There are many countries like Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia. All of these have their own concerns when it comes to China. And these disputes only make the region of Indo-Pacific probably volatile and unstabilized. And this gives the chance for other actors at the global stage to come in and probably interfere. Now regional power competition is also there. There is regional, when it comes to regional powers, there is competition. China's increasing assertiveness. When it comes to region of Indo-Pacific, you would see that China is aggressively taking its stance in various initiatives. It is trying to build infrastructure in the form of artificial islands also. Then there is United States and its allies, which are again propagating themselves as another alternative to China, even in Indo-Pacific. Then there is talks of India as also a major geopolitical player. Of course, Indo-Pacific is its backyard, so of course it has its own importance. Then there are economic challenges also. The members and the countries that are located in Indo-Pacific varies when it comes to their level of development. Some are developing, some are even LDCs, least developed countries. Some are highly developed like United States and others. There are again trade imbalances between them. Some have huge, drastically negative trade balance within their territory. We have almost $85 billion with China. So this highlights the difference in trade imbalance that these countries could have. And increasing debt level. When it comes to this area, specific example of China could be given, which resorts to debt trap diplomacy, and wherein it gives easy loans, at least at the first level they look like easy loans, to some of these neighbor countries and the countries located in Indo-Pacific to again enhance its security and political motives or geopolitical motives, but they come with strict provisions which leads to debt trap in a longer run. Example could be emergency that was proclaimed in Sri Lanka's case. That was one of the primary reasons was the loans that it had taken from China in case of Belt and Road Initiative. Then there was environmental issues. Like I said, there are various fragile ecosystems of coral reefs, mangroves. They need constant consultation, cooperations of all of these countries because they are sometimes cross boundaries. Climate change, this has intensified, led to the increasing instances of heat strokes or increasing heat or cyclones, increasing incidence of La Nina or El Nina. Again, pollution, disturbance of habitats that these aquatic species have, and overfishing. So these are some of the environmental concerns that all of these nations that are located in Indo-Pacific share. Then there are also security threats which are non-conventional and non-traditional, such as transnational crimes, cyber attacks, cyber threats, terrorism. Then there could also be some of these like organized crimes which are operating and somewhere and they are committing their acts somewhere. So it also becomes legally difficult to probably bring these criminals to their due. Now these are issues and challenges. What could be the way ahead? We need bilateral cooperation with each of these countries, whoever are located in Indo-Pacific. It becomes our duty to actively involve them, see their cooperation, help in the areas where they need our help, and if they are capable of investment and technology transfer, then we shall seek their help. Example, maritime security and counter piracy. As you can see, one of the highlighted areas could be Arabian Sea. We need help from all of these countries which are located on the borders, and then we can probably curb the practice of piracy. Multilateral cooperation, there are various platforms, ASEAN, APEC and IORA, Indian Ocean Rim Association. Regional efforts, Quad regional security, advanced economic integration. Regional efforts would involve regional actors working together, coming together, solving these issues with a conscious decision, and address common challenges such as climate change and cyber security. Like I said, the ecology, the aspect in atmosphere is interconnected. It cannot be solved by active participation of just one or even few countries. We need active participation of most of them, or at least major of the countries. Then international efforts, UN, peace and security. You have to tell me in the comment section which country was behind proposing a proposal in United Nations to declare Indo-Pacific as peace zone. So we need humanitarian assistance also. Some of these nations are not economically capable enough to handle these kind of disasters. India have time and again showed its humanitarian aspect and have helped these nations, including Maldives and Seychelles, but it needs other help from all of the countries that are located in this region. Advanced sustainable development in this region. This region could only prosper if we go towards sustainable development, where economic development is balanced by protecting these ecology of these countries. Otherwise, what use is economic development? What uses of economic development is if we do not keep our communities and people safe from the disasters led by climate change and environmental disasters. So this was about the Indo-Pacific as a whole. Now time to answer the mains-based question. This is a past previous year question. You can answer. Go ahead and answer for yourself. So moving towards the simplified section of the day, first we will talk about the WIP system, how it originated, where it originated, where did it originate, and what are the present situations that we are facing and what are the problems and issues that are being raised. As we have seen, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar have highlighted this issue that even within the parties, this WIP system whereby political members of the party are required to vote as per the advice and as per the will of the party and not as per their individual choice, which in case if it is different from the party. So he has been questioning this and he has asked certain questions like why should there be a WIP? What is its importance and how did it came in our own lexicon and what WIP means here, and he also argued that it actually leads to curbing the freedom of expression for the political members or the members of various parties. It curtails freedom, subjecting your representative to servility. It makes you a servant rather than an active, proactive member of a political party. It do not allow such a person to use his or her mind. So that is the context of this article. Now, in popular perception, as we see the office of WIP, it is probably considered a sacrosanct. Whenever a whip is registered or ever whip is called, all the members of a party are requested to be present in the state legislature, could be state legislature or the parliament, and they are supposed to wait as per the directions of the party. Now you have to understand, they could be consequences and results for defiance of a whip. So it is mandatory that whenever whip is registered or called, you have, or any political party member has to be present in the legislature. Now there could be 3 types of whips, and not in each one of them there are equal, there are no equal types of defiance level or repercussions in these type of whips. There are different and some sort of differences are there. So I'm going to highlight it for you. Before that, you have to know it started actually in the grazing fields of England. The term whip, where did it come from? So it goes back to the pastoral activities of Europeans, specifically in the fields of England, where when their economy was pastorally based, it used to be used by a member of the hunting group. For what? To call up and to bring straying hounds back into the pack, so that they could call back on the hounds back into the pack and they could go back home. So this was, but its use in politics. So this was in the case of agriculture. But then it transpired in political field. By whom? There was Anglo-Irish politician known by the name of Edmund, and he used this term in case of political discussions in the parliament itself. Now there are 3 kinds of whips. First of all, a one-line whip. There are 3 kinds of whip: 1 line, 2 line and 3 line. And with each one, the gravity increases. As we go down, the gravity increases. In 1 line, it informs the members to be present and vote, but it permits them to abstain. If they want to, they can abstain. In 2nd line, a 2-line whip does not tell them how to vote, but again, presence is required. In 3-line whip, which is the most strict one, it largely the norm and which is the course and discourse. This has largely been discussed these days because it is the resort taken by most of the politicians now. It directs members to present and vote as per the party line. So even the directions, whom to vote, for what to vote, for what line of directions has to be given for voting, is specifically prescribed. And like I said, there has been a history of whip system in India also. In Secretary General P.D.T. Acharya, he was the former Lok Sabha secretary. He said that the system is important for parliamentary functioning. Why? Now that we have realized that there are 3 kinds of these kind of whips, and this provision has become so common that they take to 3-line whip again, time and again. What could be the reason and why it has not been stopped when we have political solutions to that also? First being, and this was highlighted by Lok Sabha secretary himself, he said that parties see voting on some matters as crucial how their politics is perceived. If let's say multiple members of political party are voting on any one issue taken by the party in different directions, first of all, it will not set a right impression. It would also go against the common ideology that the party holds. It can also represent that the member is not going to agree or doesn't agree on the basic common field that the party upholds, or even the ideology. So it raises multiple questions when the actual reason could be totally different. Now, on matters critical to the party, where the representation needs to go in 1 line, it becomes important, and absence or voting against the party line, if let's say that member chooses to vote against the party, it sets a bad impression. It leads to possible defeat of the agreement or the sentiment of the party posed by it. Failure to demonstrate, and in worst cases, if it is by the major party that is holding the office, that is dealing with the government of the day or is leading it, it could also lead to, it can also demonstrate loss of face and loss of majority in lower house, that is the Lok Sabha, and it could lead to no confidence motion. Because this could raise doubt, and it could also lead to discourse among the opposition, where it doesn't, opposition party could also see such kind of vote coming from the majority party as a signs of differences or possible defection. So this issue and defection also gets highlighted when we discuss about the whip. Now, 3-line whip, under each sentence there are 3 thick horizontal lines. Just to add to your information, the leader of the party can recommend his or disqualification to the presiding officer. So let's say if the member of a political party doesn't agree and does not vote as per the requirement and indications and guidelines given under the 3-line whip, the leader of the party, after getting satisfied that this has been the case, he can or she can recommend his or her disqualification to the presiding officer of the house. If that happens, it could lead to the removal of that party member. Also, under anti-defection law, qualification can happen for violation of 3-line whip. So you have to tell me in the comment section what are the possible grounds of defection under which a political party member could be disqualified under anti-defection law. There are 3 or 4 grounds, one of which, like I said, if whip system is not followed, you have to tell me the rest of the cases. Then even Supreme Court has said that the whip system is necessary. Why? Because Indian democracy is based, or any parliamentary democracy is based on existence of parties. They make their range of issues, go to the public and people vote them, and there is a matter of trust of the public in those issues, and for the same they have voted for it. Sometimes even the party member, and if he's a MLA or MP, and if he's getting the votes, it could be a result of his or individual work. It could also be a result of the standing in the party or probably the vision of that party overall. When that is done, when the members vote against that, it shows the break of trust of the populace in large. So the Supreme Court has said that it is necessary for the preservation of political parties that whip system is kept. Then serious consequences in the context of anti-defection could take place if it is proved that yes, the party member has in fact voted against the given directions of the party. Who enforces the whip system? The Minister of Parliamentary Affairs is the government's chief whip in the Lok Sabha. He can request leaders of all parties of the ruling alliance. There can be one ruling alliance at the center and there could be one chief whip. But for each political parties that are a part of that alliance, there would be individual whip. And the chief whip give instructions to all of the individual whips, and the whips of each of the political party then again gives instruction to their party members. In Raj Sabha, Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs is the government chief whip. However, matters for members of the political parties, most are the directions issued by their whips. So their own whips are more important than the Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs, who gives who is the government's chief whip in case of Raj Sabha. So you remember the difference, Raj Sabha and Lok Sabha. Alright, now whip system is crucial. All India Whip Conference has been held in 1952 and it has been conducting since then, because it was in 1952 that first election was first Lok Sabha was constituted. Results came and first Lok Sabha was constituted, and they found the importance and they identified this importance in 1952 itself. Since then, these conferences having been conducted. It provides forum to the whips of various political parties, and Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs is the nodal bodies to conduct such a discussion. It has whips of Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, state legislature, officials from the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and the other relevant bodies. Now the second article under the simplified section, why Jammu and Kashmir is issuing Aadhar to each Chinar tree. So we can call it tree Aadhar. Why it has been in news? Jammu and Kashmir government has launched such an initiative for the conservation of region's Chinar trees, which have been dwindling in number over the years. So as you can see, this is an environmental and conservation related concern. The one tree that is in Jammu and Kashmir, which is known by the name of Chinar, the numbers of it is getting dwindled for various reasons. We will see. Now the state government has decided to conduct one active census about it. Why? To document all such trees and assigning each one of them a specific geotagging, also known as Aadhar. What is a Chinar tree? It is the name, a scientific name of it, Plantus orientalis. You can remember this name. They may ask you in your prelims. It's a maple tree. It's an oriental plain tree, and it has it takes around 30 to 50 years for this tree, single tree, to mature, and around and around 150 years to reach to its full height. So this tree is specifically known for its agility and for long-term survival. It can grow up to a height of 30 meters while its girth range 10 to 15 meters. And now, how did this tree get its name? So the Chinar word there's a different name of it in even before during the medieval period, but during medieval period the name Chinar was given to the tree by Mughals. It is this has been claimed by some of the sections. Now the term Chinar came into use because the word itself is based on Persian term. As you can see, Che Nar Ast. It means a Persian phrase meaning what flame is that? Why did they call it a flame? Because it was crimson and red in color. It could be highlighted from some distance, and so that's why they called it in Persian Che Nar Ast, and the name became Chinar. Now conservative concerns are there with respect to this tree, that it has been declining due to various reasons. That could be urbanization, deforestation and climate change also. Efforts are also underway to protect this, especially in Kashmir, taken by the state government. Government initiatives have declared Chinar a protected species, and felling the tree without permission is illegal, even on the private lands. Geographical distributions, if we talk about, it is native to Eurasia, that is Europe and Asia, particularly Southern Europe and Western Asia. In India, it is prominently found in Jammu and Kashmir and to a lesser extent in Himachal Pradesh. So the primary state is Jammu and Kashmir, and some of the trees could also be seen in Himachal Pradesh. Now, why is this significant? Apart from being a major tourist attraction, it also has multiple uses in art from the perspective of art and culture. So when it comes to a tourist attraction in the Kashmir region, it blossoms during the autumn season and gives a very aesthetic look where the green leaves slowly change into crimson red. So remember, these are not flowers which are crimson and gold and yellow in color. These are in fact leaves, green leaves, which during autumn season changes into red and gold. They have a special place from the perspective or from the idea of art, culture and craft of this Kashmir, where it is used as a motif or theme in various arts such as embroidery work, also in wood carvings and hand-woven carpets. So you can remember embroidery, carpets and wood carvings. There it is used as a Chinar, the motifs of Chinar tree is used. Why and what is the Chinar Conservation Project? Like I said, it has been launched by the Jammu and Kashmir state government. The government nod now is needed even if the tree is located on someone's private land. That's why they are trying to track and document each of these trees, give them specific Aadhar or identity or geotagging. So it becomes difficult even for the private residents who are living there and have their tree on their locations. Now census will be conducted, and like I said, they will be given specific tree Aadhars. The census has to be done district wise. There are around 32 to 33,000 number of trees in this state, and almost 28,000, more than 28,500, specifically 28,560 trees have been documented so far by the government. They have been given GI tag also. Now authorities have started putting a metallic QR code so as to increase the specific identification that has to be given to these Chinar tree for their protection. And this geotag metallic QR tag itself will give the details of each specific tree when it comes to their 25 parameters. That could be their height, that could be their latitude, the age, girth, health, etc. Now remember that the scientific name of this tree is Planetus orientalis. Family, you can remember, if you can remember, please do remember it, but do not forget the scientific name, which is the Planetus orientalis. Its appearance, the height goes up to 30 meters, and it is a spreading trunk with smooth bark that exfoliates in patches. It looks red, gold, orange during autumn, making it visually stunning and aesthetic. Lifespan, Chinar tree can live for centuries. And flower and fruits. Please remember this, it produces small, inconspicuous flowers which do not are easily to remember. Round, spiky fruits also. So flowers, fruits that contain seeds. Alright. There could be some of these provisions given into the prelims, and they could ask if they are related to Chinar tree or not. And if you can just go through it, it will help you to gauge through all those options. So next article is on the Corbett Tiger Reserve, where recently there was a tiger attack on women who was out to take some tree leaves for the horses. Let's read more about this. This happened in Ramnagar Forest Division of Corbett Tiger Reserve, which is located in where? In Uttarakhand. So the woman was out for getting and cutting some leaves for her horse and was climbing down. When she was climbing down, then the tiger caught her leg and it led to her eventual death. Now this is a concern because many such incidents have already happened in the past. And to give you an idea, in 2017, since 2017, this Ramnagar division has sealed 12 deaths, such deaths in attacks by tigers. And out of those 12, 7 were women. In 2024 alone, 5 deaths have been reported and 4 of them have been found to be women. Now for a reason, the majority of them are women. And the reason primarily being that most of the men that live and reside in these areas have moved or migrated to other regions for their jobs or for their structural and unstructural employment. But women have left behind and they take care of the homely utility activities, and they go out for fuel wood or for grazing purposes to take fodder for their grazing animals. Now women often fall prey to tigers because they venture into forests to collect fodder. And when women sit on their haunches to pick firewood, they are often perceived by tigers as their prey. So it is assumed that even tigers do not intentionally eat them, but sometimes out of the perception, and when they are not able to differentiate with respect to their prey, they attack these women also. And the people living in these areas, they are saying that tiger never attacked us before. They prey on goats and dogs, not humans. Now Corbett National Park, if we talk about certain the geographical space and its expense, it is located and it is spread over 3 districts. What are those? Pauri, Nainital and Almora. It is home to 260 tigers. Remember, this park has the highest density of tigers in the country, that is in India, according to the status of Tiger Report 2022. Now villagers turn to forest for firewood and minor forest produce. This is being major reason most of the men migrated to the cities. As I've said, women are the ones who take to these activities. Now there was a meeting that was conducted to resolve and come and to address redressal of the grievances that these village people have. And at first suggestion came was that the legal action would be taken against villagers venturing into the forest. But this is one of the unsustainable solutions. And it was also, it met with anger. Why? Because this is one of the sustenance activity that these people take to. They do not do it out of their intention, but they have to because they do not have very remunerating agriculture. Now, the authorities finally came down to the solution where they said that women can go out to fetch firewood, but in groups of 15 twice a week from each village, and one of our forest officials will accompany to help in case any tiger is nearby. This will decrease the chances of an encounter between man and animal, human and animal. The officials also promised to bring fodder to the villages at normal. So this solution is a sustainable solution. This you can use as a case study also. So this is about the Corbett Tiger Reserve and the issue of man-animal conflict taking place there that you can use. Another article which is about the pollution boards, not just the Central Pollution Control Board, but the state control boards also. They are under the overall authority of Central Pollution Control Board. So there was one affidavit and there was one court order by the NGT, National Green Tribunal. It asked to fill up the vacancies that are lying vacant in all of these boards, including CPCB and State Pollution Control Boards. So findings have been done, and it is still has been seen that there are some vacancies which are lying. Only 167 posts have been filled out of total 2,222 posts. Now, it has pollution control boards on its part has cited there are reasons ranging from unavailability of candidates, from feeder cadres. In other state, there are some posts which are filled by taking feeder candidates from other state pollution boards, which has not happened. Then there is a backlog in filling. There are certain posts which are kept for reserved quota posts, which are also lying vacant. There are reasons related to poor or delayed conduct of examinations. and vacancies which were under process due to promotions. So there could be multiple reasons, and they have written in on an affidavit and submitted to the NGT. This reflecting tardy progress on compliance of NGT in order to fill up the vacant post across pollution boards in the country by April. So NGT has asked to fill up these vacancies by April, and now CPCB has in an answer given this affidavit. Out of 11,562 sanctioned posts, around 5,671 or around 49%, more than 49% were reported to be vacant in 28 states and 8 union territories. Overall across India, around 49%, even more than 49% lie vacant. So that report highlights the status and the vacancy issues, the poor administration dealing with the human resource aspect, of course delaying of implementations of environmental related judgments, also tackling pollution as well. Now there are two types of pollution control boards. Like I said, at the center, at the union level, there is Central Pollution Control Board. It was established in 1974 under Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act, which is also known as Water Act. Tell me the year in which the Air Act was propagated. And it also, now coming back to CPCB, it acts as a national authority under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And under this institution, all other state pollution control boards lie. Also under union territory, in case of union territory, there are no boards but committees. You can remember that also. They can ask you or give you or probably confuse you in your prelims when they go ahead and ask you what are there any pollution boards in case of state union territories. So no, there are committees actually rather than boards. CPCB, it gives guidelines, sets pollution standards, advises the government. And these similar guidelines have to be followed by these state boards as well as committees. So their role is to implement these environmental laws, issue consents to industries and monitor pollution levels in their respective regions. So this was regarding the fourth article. Now the last article of the day under the simplified section, which is around Guillain-Barre syndrome. And it has registered around 101 cases in a nearby Pune region. Why it is becoming an area of concern? Let's see more about this. So the number of cases in this syndrome, which is Guillain-Barre syndrome, it is a rare and as well as neurological disorder. So you can remember that it is a rare, but of course, probably neurological disorder. It has crossed the 100 mark. It has also registered one death from Solapur. As many as 81 patients from areas coming under Pune Municipal Corporation, 14 from areas Pimpri-Chinchwad Municipal Corporation, and the remaining 6 from other district. Just to give you the area and the distribution of the patients that are there under this disease. Central team has also is expected to visit and see the actual reason why these people and from where or the source, specific source from where these people have accumulated and gathered this disease. Now some details about this syndrome. It is a rare neurological disorder in which the body's immune system mistakenly, so it is not any external agent, but body's immune system itself starts attacking its own peripheral nervous system. So what is peripheral nervous system? There is a central nervous system and other is peripheral nervous system, which helps the central nervous system to access main functions. So first of all, there could be source or agent by which body's immune system is affected. Yes, so you do need an external reason, but that reason affects the body's immune system itself, and then body's immune system in effect in turn starts attacking its own peripheral nervous system. To tell you more, there are two types of nervous system, central and peripheral. Central nervous system has two parts, brain and spinal cord. But like I said, this disease affects the peripheral nervous system, which has a distribution of various nerves that takes and proceeds ahead apart from and in addition to central nervous system. Now under this syndrome, demyelination and degeneration of peripheral nerves take place, that is peripheral nervous system gets affected. It could lead to muscle weakness if those nerves are not working place, and eventual paralysis also. Now coming back to it is an autoimmune reaction. Like I said, body's own immune system reacts against the peripheral nervous system. It attacks myelin sheaths or nerve cells that are located at the ends of these nerves. So as you can see these nerves, here it is full of these nerve cells. When they are affected, these nerves eventually get affected. Common triggers could be any infections, viral or bacterial infection, that could lead to this immune system, body's immune system, that could trigger to this deficiency in this body's immune system. It could be post-vaccination. There could be rare cases of post-vaccination symptoms or these case, and there could be surgery or trauma. Mostly it is these infections. It was also seen in the case of Zika virus that these diseases came into the discussions. So that was all for today. I hope you liked this session. Thank you and all the best.